Hi, you have reached the first virtual uh, monthly poetry reading featuring Donna Vorreyer and Jane Zwart, and a burgeoning open mic full of wonderful poets. So we're glad you're here. And if you still have time, you can still get in and come and join us. Otherwise, you're listening to this on the recording. Our first reader will be Donna Vorreyer. I'm not pronouncing it correctly because I have mush mouth this morning. Let me find the. Donna Vorreyer is the author of Unrivered, forthcoming in 2025, To Everything There Is, 2020, Every Love Story is an Apocalypse Story, 2016, and A House of Many Windows, 2013, all from Sundress Publications. She hosts the monthly online reading series, 100 Pictures of Honey, and is a co-founder slash editor of the new journal, Asterales, a journal of arts and letters. Take it away, Donna.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Robbi. Thank you, Verse Virtual, and our audience today, and anyone watching in the future. I am going to read you some poems from my new book, Unrivered, just came out on Tuesday. New book uh, addresses a lot of questions about as we age um, and parts of our identity kind of drain away from us. I'm retired, so I'm not a teacher anymore, and my parents are gone. Am I a daughter anymore? As a woman, I've gone through menopause. There are all these losses that we go through, and the labels that we used to use to define ourselves kind of get drained away. So then what do you do then to kind of rebuild a self? And to accept the changes that come with aging. It's kind of like the overall theme of the book. So I'm going to just kind of jump around the middle of the book today. I've been trying to read different poems on different readings, and so I'm not going to talk too much about them as I read them. So I'm going to put my timer on so I don't go over time. And here we go. The first poem is called To Be Honest, Not at All Like Fine Wine. Vapor rises from the bath, a shoal of ghost fish surrounding me, a mantle of mist to conceal the damage. I've been told some do this gracefully, but who has the time for grace? Instead, I cling to small miracles, admire the intricate lace edges of kale mapping an unknown coast. I search a box of languages for one that buzzes at the pitch of preservation. But the odometer rolls forward, no matter how many times I stop at yellow lights, horns behind me blaring. I beg your pardon. I am trying to make something last. There's lots of music references in this book. Um, and there's also some love poems and desire poems in this book. So, we need to make sure the young people out there know that, desire doesn't stop, at a certain age. So this is a weird little love poem. It's called Abad Ending in Allegro. Sludged and duct taped, I shrink from high beams. I used to hopscotch from thought to thought, but now I am fallow, frozen, bamboozled by blue light. I forget the combination to remove my armor, clatter down the stairs in search of tiny white bullets to load into the chamber of my body. Still, you patience your way through my popsicle brain, my gaping hollows. Only you can yank me out of nostalgia's amber, pull me from my umami wallow into orange, bright morning. So untime my limbs to limber and kiss me into ambition. Achtung, baby. Speed up my RPMs until I am nothing but spinning gibberish, until I am even better than the real thing. Some U2 references there for our music fans. And another very odd love poem with yard work. Backyard pastoral with a little death. We try in vain to decode the soil's erosion, roots emerging wrangled and rutted from the lawn. Beneath the deck, a parabola of ants swarms the gravel toward some hidden corpse, the smell subtle yet cloying. A mouse, perhaps a bird, left by the neighborhood cats. Other small creatures burrow holes into their own sweet oblivions. Yes, there is decay. The thorn's quick nip, then a bloom of blood. Both of us birthed bent from an afternoon in dirt. Our shovel blades crack against clay, a fruitless clawing toward some softer landing. Pink geraniums lipstick the green with their continuous blooms, dead-headed, then reborn. The grill smokes, fat, slick, and wicked as our dinner spits and whistles. Later, steaks devoured, we tend a different garden, so many flowers exploding in the dark. We live near a forest preserve where I spent a lot of time walking, both now but especially during lockdown. Um, and so this is called If You Go Into the Woods Today. The forest preserve rumbles with the deep-throated song of frogs, holed up in fallen trees, or testing the frigid indigo of the lake. The gully is a bowl of fog, the water unmoving, no tide to bring forth its secrets. Algae drapes the surface, obscuring what lies beneath. Fish, certainly. A dead tree, maybe. Perhaps even a body. Last fall, a missing man, car abandoned nearby, was found dead in these woods. There were no details provided in the press, but time and weather are not kind to flesh, and animals will do what animals will do. In this maze of trees and unmarked trails, deer and coyote disappear like magician's tricks when startled from the path. Like the man's body, undiscovered for weeks. How many times I must have walked right past it, unaware of him just beyond the tree line. There, but not there. How many days no one knew I was there, too. Right, I got a little heavy. It's a little more lighthearted. Um, we can tell that this book took a long time to write. I am almost 64, and the title of this poem is 59 and Feeling. So sometimes books take a long time to come into the world. 59 and Feeling. Everyone wants a shortcut to longevity, a procedure to drain age from the face to resupple the muscle. Some desire a natural cure, turmeric and black pepper to erase arthritis, apple cider vinegar to flatten a postmenopausal paunch. I have tried too long to reverse the clock and the scale. Instead, I should embrace the softening. The world a blur without my glasses, the curves of my body plush for touching. Laugh lines remind me that this face has split silly with joy, and each ache and twinge is a signal flag spelling out alive. I'm not just saying this so I can eat a cheeseburger without guilt. Or maybe I am. Maybe I'm just tired of the hard sell of youth. Maybe it's archaeologists who know the truth. In any fine museum, the most revered specimens are the oldest, the vessels and bones that speak through their shattering. I was useful. I was beautiful. I am still here. Thank you. You're also kind. Are we all okay with one F-bomb? Okay. I always ask. I don't know which, if some series prefer not to have that. Um, this poem's called Heaven Only Knows. My roots are Russian and German, making me 80% Bond villain. But I smile too often to ever be convincing. Besides, I was raised to be good, to not leave anyone out. It's how my mother lived, my father insisting her gravestone be carved with the phrase, friend to all. Her openness, legend. Every cashier and server and kid on the block drawn into her welcoming circle. If it is true that the dead watch over us, then my mother is flinching at the way I throw the word fuck around like confetti. Though she once scored 100 points spelling genitals in a Scrabble game. My father perches on my shoulder whenever I make a purchase or decision. Do you really need that? Is that what you really want to do? And then offers me a shot of brandy for my migraines, which I do not want or need. It comforts to imagine them holding up numerical placards like ice skating officials every time I write a poem or pull weeds or clean the kitchen. Always a 9 or 10. Their judgment colored by love and distance. And with that distance, each day they grow a little fainter, and it scares me. In my earliest memory, my father prepared to scale and gut the catch my brothers had pulled from the lake, and I plugged my ears. I didn't want to hear the fish scream. But I can listen now, and in the night I hear them. They whisper, "When will you stop writing about grief?" Thank you. I'm fond of that poem, but I don't read it very often because of the F word. Um, I'm going to read just a few more. I don't want to go over my time. This one's called Transference. I ask the geraniums, the ferns, the lilies, how do you go on? They reply with pollen tongues, stop trying to plan. But I have planted this heart season after season, watered until it sprouted, ripened to a blood red drumming, yet always there is a withering. It's time I stop asking. Pry the ribs to transplant it back into the chest, watch it root and beat a new mantra. Let someone else be desolate. I bind my wrists with vines and wait to blossom. I shine and reign alone, my own sun, my own biome. I think I'm just going to read one more. I always like to end a reading with a little bit more of an upbeat poem. Um, so if there's an upbeat poem, it's an upbeat poem about failure. Thank you all for being such wonderful listeners. I've had fun reading these poems, um, and some that I don't usually read. So this last one is called I Fail in Many Tenses. I make a list of failures. It trails unwieldy, a weighty Jacob Marley's chain. I fail daily to rejoice at the breath in my lungs, at this long and irksome job of living, at each bowl of hot soup with crackers, at each pile of unraked leaves, each simple act of being. I walk every day, I run, but still I fail at getting faster, at getting smaller. What are you running from? A friend asks. Death, I answer. And once again, I have failed to articulate my desire to cherish everything, from the dragonfly on my shoulder To the hair my husband leaves in the sink after he shaves. He shaves. He is alive. Failed to kneel at the temple of birches and oaks in the forest preserve, at the towering skyline of the loop in the distance, at the brine of an olive, at the ache in my back, burning yet alive. And I am still failing to explain. But God, give me more chances to be bad at joy, and one of them will stick, I swear. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. I identify with that last one especially. But thank you very much for your poems. I posted Donna's website so you can look into her books and maybe buy one or two. And so we'll move on to our next feature as soon as I pull up the bio. There we go. Jane Zwart teaches at Calvin University and co-edits book review for Plume. Her poems have appeared in Poetry, The Southern Review, Threepenny Review, HAD, and Plowshares, and her first collection of poems is coming out with Rosin Books in fall 2025. Take it away, Jane.
Thank you so much, Robbi, for hosting us. And Donna, I love your poems, and I love them even more when I get to hear them in your voice. So thank you for that too. My book actually was delayed, which is something that maybe this crowd has some experience with, but it's coming out in February. So I am looking forward to that. And around Michigan, February is a month that could use something exciting. So yeah, but I'm going to read a couple of poems to start us off from that book. The first one is called Poem with a Hole in It, and it's sort of the invitation for the book. So I'll start there. Poem with a Hole in It. My great aunt had a typewriter that punched the paper belly from every O she wrote. Every poem has a hole in it. A rifle's sight, the peg of lens in a motel door, the circle cut in a kaleidoscope so we can see colors pedaling down the tube. Your pupil guzzling data and light, my pupil guzzling data and light. I think of the divots left in a birthday cake when the kid uproots the candles. I think of the pox Christmas lights burn in a porch rail's rough of snow. We are on different sides of this islet. My great aunt taught me that. Every poem is riddled with holes, but I am threading 2 tin cans, punctured ends, that you might know me yet. Thank you. This next one is the title poem for the book, and it's actually a poem that features one of my former students. It's called Oddest and Oldest and Saddest and Best. My student spends his summers in city cemeteries, clipping the scruff that grows too close to the stones or anywhere the mowers can't go. Sundays mostly, the death jilted come. Some to pledge the stiff with a fifth, some to Windex the pain of granite. Some of those left come to sob nearer the lever, or anyway, nearer the dregs that pool in their defector's chest. Sundays, my student stays home. Mondays, he finds the flat and shouldered bottles. He finds a silver pita barely levitating in the cool of the day, bleeding helium molecules. The remnant trapped in the mylar, huddles small for warmth. He finds that those who visit the hours he works don't mind the loose orbit the groundskeepers keep around their mellowed grief. He tells me about the priest who lingers after giving a graveside homily, heavy on Jonah. The Lord appoints the bush and the worm that attacks the bush. Some of the bereaved, my student says, regain their curiosity. They ask him about the others' epitaphs, oddest and oldest and saddest and best. Thank you. While I am being a little depressing, I'll keep going, but I'll, like Donna, try and pull things a little upward at the end. This poem is called Harvest in the Dark. In therapy, I lay my cards on the table. Ace of briefcases and reverse hermit, jack of all trades, queen of wind-up dolls. I play a tornado, a garbage pail kid, the 5 of cups. I am still trying to change. When I started this work, I thought the well willed themselves stable, pulling whatever their edges were toward a middle or a mean, that they'd learn to solve for averages. I wanted what was average too. I figured I could split the difference, that halfway between the self who did not want to wake or wash and the one who overfunctioned, there must be a middle-aged woman somewhere, in jeans, getting on with what was. But a mother who rages because it's all too much. Famine and swimming lessons, bees dying, her boys checking each other's necks for ticks, and the child who cries because nothing is enough, neither art nor protests, cannot come to any intent, death being proof for both. Because the mother is right and the child is right. A hermit cannot take a queen or a tornado, an ace. I am still trying to change. Listen, between what is diametrical, there is a field of rhubarb growing so fervently that it creaks. And to preserve its sweetness, farmers harvest it in no more than moon or candlelight. Thank you. This one's called Shambles and Sons. One way to sum us up, all of us, I mean, is to survey the mess we've made. I'm not saying there's nothing lovely left. I'm saying that in Europe, there are fields where buttercups know not to breach the rims of bomb craters, and in Antarctica, there are birds who don't know bottle caps from clams. And while it's impossible to know how it started, Shambles and Sons, whether as an observatory or armory, Adam died a factotum, zookeeper, embalmer, architect, priest. While from there we took on a life of our own. We took lives, we gave birth, and suddenly there were middens and archives, Caesars and towers, electricity, antiquities, theaters, mines. Before we knew it, Earthshine was a movie we'd projected on the moon. We said humankind was too big to fail. Rash shambles. We said the sun would never set on the Anthropocene. Thank you. I just have 2 more. One is from a poem that came from Mary Oliver's When Death Comes. And it's the first sort of after poem I wrote. And of course, I realized partway through writing it that I was really trying to punch above my weight. But the poem turned out okay. So it's called All My Life, I Was a Bride Married to Amazement. When death comes, final and novel, the trick cul-de-sac or burst dam, a door that opening erases or shutting disappears, I want to watch the film strip once more. I want to see the caterpillar, his whole body, a fat neck, rolling hills and horripilation. I want to remember how, every time he dropped from some leaf to my arm, we appalled each other. I want to remember how every time astonishment made us the same. When death comes, I want to watch, reel to reel my unrealized fears, yielding to what I never thought to dread, meningitis, oily rags. I want to flip back to the times my name came up lucky in the raffle of who gets to see herons. All my life, I was a bride married to amazement. Every sickness an affront, every peach a geode. All my life, bowled over by every hell, fresh, stale, it didn't matter. And all my life blown about, a feather on the breath of God. When it's over, I want to say, it was a requited love. But probably, even then, I won't know whether I have passed my life as surprises adept or her dupe. Probably even then, I'll only be sure of falling asleep beside my strange bedfellow. Strange. Thank you. One more little guy, and maybe this is a more common term than I think, but often in races, running races, there is a category of people that are listed under also ran. They're the people that didn't place or distinguish themselves in any particular way. And when I have done a few different sort of runs, that is always the category that I have belonged to. So this poem is called Also Ran. Never, not once, did I pull away. I never found another gear, a terror, a fire, an ultimatum only swiftness could solve. My talent was all intransigence. If I was proud, I was proud because even when the horse passed me, I didn't stop. Well, horses are pretty fast, my husband said. And I didn't have to, but I told him. The horse was two people dressed up as a horse. Oh, he said. And for days I descended the stairs backward. I retired my shoes and washed the blood from my socks. And finisher, the medal said. So I began again. Thank you. Such a pleasure to be with you.
Well, Jane, those were wonderful poems. It's such a pleasure to be introduced to your work. I guess we'll take a minute here and we'll move on to our open micers. But thanks so much to our terrific features, and please don't fail to take note of their websites. Some of you were here to get the links so you can order their books, because it's hard to sell books at virtual readings. It's hard to sell them generally, but it's even harder online. So thanks so much for being here and for giving us the pleasure of listening to you read. Now we'll move on to the open mic, which begins with Rosemary, coming to us from Peru, as always.
Okay. Now, I can't possibly follow these two, especially with the ones I'm going to read, because they're from my new book, a chapbook, really, which is like a dictionary. I am German born and a Brit and a Peruvian, and my English is not mine, even though I claim it to be. So I'm fascinated by difficult words. And this is my, hang on, can you see it? My recently published chapbook, The Matter of Words. So I'm reading from them two poems, not very long ones. Hang on. I think I just screwed up, but I might rescue it. Okay, here we go. So one word that fascinated me was soupçon. And my poem for it is a hint of jasmine, a touch of curcuma, a dash of pepper, a pinch of salt, a smidgen of mustard, a splash of vinegar, a drop of wine, a morsel of cheese, a speck of dust, a trace of methamphetamine, I can't even pronounce it, a modicum of madness. And the other one is exonym. Oh, America, a name given to the whole continent by a German cartographer. He never traveled there, but called it America after his colleague cartographer, Amerigo Vespucci. There are many countries on the continent of America. The most powerful and influential, the United States of America. Other Americans, among many, the Mexicans, the Peruvians, the Colombians, the Chileans, the Brazilians. Exonyms for Mexicanos, Peruanos, Colombianos, Chilenos, Brasileiros, the names by which they know themselves. The Navajo call each other Diné. Warszawa in the Polish version is the Polish version of Warsaw. And Auschwitz was the German name for Oswiecim. Thank you.
Our next reader is Michael. Where are you? There you go.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. We're fine, right? All right. First off, Donna and Jane, thank you so much. Superb readings. And of course, Robbi and Jim, I really appreciate this platform and the welcoming environment. I'm going to read a poem from my new book, Shaky Music from the Angry Air. Which is sort of the result of, I guess, what I'll call the Ouroboros of fascism, pandemic, and death. Sounds pretty exciting, right? It's called Forgive Us All. Split lip from falling over a footstool. With 3 fingers of Johnny Walker and a crystal rocks glass, I bought on Amazon Blue Christmas Eve. Got cleaned up by lunch. Had those vagrant red goose-lid eyes you see on TV in beaten downtown bars where everyone drinks Kessler or 10 High. My boss's son was murdered by white supremacists at Cal State. Everything frosted over in the morning. I slowed down, ate too much rich food, stopped trying. My wife was happy to have her sickly mother to worry about instead of me. Time is a trick. This toothsome 60-something black guy with a bushy mustache, wearing a 7-spike crown and a pink prom dress, leaned out a passing car window to shout, "I say yes, I forgive you all," then blew me a kiss. "Remember Miss Liberty," she said, riding into the sunrise. When the moon was fat that bright white morning, I walked right through the muscle of her pink breath. She's on the river's other side, where I can see horses and passerines, wild blue sweet clover. I keep calling up strength to make the swim over. Same moon at night. There is no sleep outside her. Her a cracked bell with the drag queen clapper. Thank you.
Our next reader is Gary.
Okay, thank you. This poem is called A Pot Pie. Caught again at the edge of sleep, ye watch the world swallow the tail, digest its own diameter, splitting out an eternity of numbers. 3, 1, now 4, 1 again, 5, 9, digits following digits, on and on, until even NVIDIA processors would lose their crunch, concede the world cannot be solved. But you go on, caught in the decimal, caught in the expansion, the unfolding, add a fraction here, subtract one there, do it again and again until you almost convince yourself your life converges. But you know you cannot know the end that draws you. Hear only the quantum dance of the random. Hear the sudden appearance of the appearance of order when everything seems to follow and you almost forget you walk on a skin stretched too tight, too thin, about to give way. Thank you.
Our next reader is Mary.
Me?
You are the one and
Okay.
only today.
The one and only. Well, this is a little bit different for me, but I thought it was kind of fun. In the dermatologist's waiting room. I remember when I didn't think about my body at all and it didn't get in the way, screaming, I can't, I can't. Those were the days. Halcyon, long gone now. I've got skin bruising if you just bump it or help breathe on it. Tearing and bleeding like tissue paper. So embarrassing. Arms and hands creepy and fingers going crooked. And then the inner ear rebellion refusing to keep me upright and steady, even on the smoothest floor. Embarrassing almost to tears. Fearing the great ungraceful fall, sprawled out awkward as a broken doll, with the crowd that gathers so glad it's you down, not them, so solicitous, and just like the surgeon's office, with all those fragile old souls, curved like corn curls over their canes and walkers, small bandages on ears and chins and necks, waiting for the lab results on their melanoma invaded skin spots to see if there needs to be an even wider excision. All of us packed together for hours, waiting on those flimsy, unforgiving chairs for the labs to be done with their deliberations, getting more and more exhausted and dehydrated so fast they passed out snacks and bottles of water, worried we might start a mass fainting like an aging flash mob with only the music of canes dropping and heads percussing on the floor tiles in some pitiful broken rhythm not one of us could dance to. We watched the others walk with eyes and hearts green and sour with envy. Sure, they can dance, shimmy and step to sounds we can no longer hear, words we don't know to songs we've forgotten. It's a bitter mouthful to take like medicine that's not far enough from a poison dose, teasing your weary cells with promises of absolution and rest without consequence, an end to this senseless waiting with its cruel freight of truth, its promise we always knew was moving to fulfillment, like that birthday candle burning down your years until the wick is gone and your light snuffed out without much apology, and none of your dreams or excuses by one day's parole or last minute rescue from the end of your last clumsy sentence. And I can't say if it's better or worse to go out with an audience waiting for applause. Thank you.
Oh, my. Thank you, Mary. I think many of us can relate to that. Our next reader is MaryEllen. I didn't count you a Mary, so. MaryEllen, are you still here?
There. Had to unmute. I had to unmute. I love your poem, Mary. This one is all ye who go here abandon logic, or I attempt to write a poem about joy. I am outside in my skivvies in the rain searching for joy. There's gravel between my toes, and I'm reaching for rosemary to slide between my fingers and inhale its smooth scent, while the damp mist of petrichor is singing me, plinging me with every drip, drop, droplet, until bad vibes scatter to oblivion, and I am awash with you, and you. Humanity's search crew wearing flannel as we jump aboard a garbage truck cruising down my narrow street. We're leapfrogging one another, yet we manage to hang on to the clean trap door of the trash smasher. Of course, we make a funny sight as we traverse glistening city streets in these days of our survival, in our ever on the alert, crazed, harried haze, and sometimes cast a glance to wink at one another as we get a tiny glimpse of rapture. Thank you.
Now I had to unmute. Our next reader is David.
Oh, thank you. I think I'm going to continue the upbeat theme for today. This is called Ode to Extinction. I don't have philosophy, I have life, such as it is, without many answers, if zero still counts as not many. These days, reflections center on humanity, in whom I'm very disappointed overall. As an exercise, picture the world empty of humans. It's easy, only getting easier by the day. Pristine rains fall from clouds and blue expanses of sky. Oceans of unsoiled waters teem again with life. Barren lands erupt everywhere into vibrant gardens, sheltering living things with prosper in every corner. Whole forests and shifting sands cover debris from decomposed human creations. A whoosh of breezes replace insults from machines blared into air. Science finds evidence for 5 mass extinctions, estimating 99% of all species ever existing on this beloved planet have already vanished. So humans wouldn't be the first not to make it, but maybe the first to do so willfully. We are creatures who spend precious talents pursuing new methods to extinguish each other, but willing to settle for old ones in a pinch. There'll be so much to miss after we're gone. Gorgeous skins kissed by every shade and tint melanin can muster. the dazzle from loving brown, hazel, amber, blue, green, and gray eyes. Beauty as amorphous an invention as the ideas to quantify it, with a dash of ecstasy thrown in as a bonus for trying. Glibness with language, putting emotions of wonder and majesty into rainbows of words pulled from human breaths. And the disappointment, it won't be us to miss it. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Our next reader is Marieta.
Yes. Wait a second.
Marieta,
Yes, yes, yes.
are you
Wait.
going?
Oh, yes, yes. So, cubic words. There are hues of blue embracing those of red to vibrate in harmony. There is a sense of their movement above the limits. There is a feeling in the sense. The feelings can be objects. Conceivably, things have a beginning because we believe it. And maybe there is neither a beginning nor an end. In the spring rain, there are kissing statues in the lewd lodgings, emblazoned with shadows of shabby objects on the walls. There are lonely people meditating on their life. There is a measure of vulnerability for everything that is good and for the starving birds in searching for seeds everywhere, as for those cancerous youngsters having unimaginable pains, still yearning to be cured, not till experience. In the coverings, there are riders of the history dressed in armor to enter the mind's imagination and all that is not the mind's imagination. On spring nights, there is a moon becoming a curtain for the great vaudeville of the stars formed from the other stars. No two are alike, and being like charming women wearing masks and white necklines, nor like those ballerinas who like to costume in lactate white to suggest dandelions dancing to spread their seeds. In the luxury shop windows, there are gems that look like flowers and flowers looking like gems. In the Sisyphus dimension, there are tired eyelids in abeyance. Nothing bends from above. Everything falls. There are emerald northern lights. In a puddle of sun, there are emerald green tattooed bodies dancing tango. There are cubic dragons, and there are things that have been taken apart to be put then back together in the wrong order. So it is self-loathing, and there are feelings of worthlessness in a life spent earning filthy lucre. There are resentments to destroy lives. There are the wrong things that fall apart and the wrong things that fall together with those that are right. There are words coming out with a wrong comprehension to be incorporated into bad memories. They are wrongly imagined writers of history, uprising dove, feather, and prying eyes, get at the meaning of the truths in the upright. There are many truths left. All of these things exist, yet there will never be blue trees or everlasting corpses. This poem is published in Four Feathers Press. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Marjorie is up next.
Thank you, Robbi and Jane and Donna. This is a poem from an older book about living in an unsafe world, which unfortunately is still very relevant. And I've been thinking a lot about the parents of the school shooters and the church shooters and you know how they might feel. So this is we had some friends whose daughter ended up a good kid ended up holding up someone at a grocery store with a gun. So this was in response to that. The good mother hides from photographers. All week they've stolen her daughter's face, rolled it up, delivered it in late additions to each waiting neighbor, all of whom are quoted passionately as saying, "She comes from a good family. We don't understand." Neither does she, hiding behind her just-washed curtains, the family portraits eyeing her disgrace. Reporters ring the bell, wait for her good manners to reclaim her. It is time for school, her daughter appropriately housed behind evenly spaced bars, her unsure lips as complex as fingerprints. Even this is a photographic exhibit with the wrong captions. Behind her 8x10 door, the good mother develops polite excuses, snaps small portraits of her family's past with her black and white eyes, pastes them behind the present. She has forgotten how to pose, where to focus her attention. In that other studio, her daughter will cry without her, her young silhouette striking and beautiful even there, her eyes negatives of what once was. Meanwhile, on the front porch, the photographers raise their lenses, adjust their stares. Soon the good mother will open the door, look away towards the edge of the frame, there where she needs to step out of the picture. And then I'll read a short poem, kind of in response to Jane's last poem about beginning again. And I just lost the poem, okay? And this is called Begin. Just a single rough gray pebble as slight as a fingernail, as tiny as a chip off a full-formed wish, like an irritant wedged between foot and sandal that could, with much patience and persistence, be saved and made into something not big, but on its way to small, then eventually larger, a statue even, holding up a torch. But this is not about construction. There are a zillion crushed stones as far as your peripheral vision can see, and they are monochrome and crowded, and they are as tall as twin towers and wrap around the world. Face the wall, put your hands on it, your fingers, a chisel. It is a single rough gray pebble. Start with that. Thanks.
Powerful stuff, Marjorie. Thank you. Our next to last reader on the open mic is the editor of First Virtual, Jim Lewis.
There I am. Sometimes switching between windows just isn't as smooth as it ought to be. I'm going to read one poem. I have a bad habit of offering to write poems to people who provide prompts for me. And this most recent was on my birthday, which is October 3rd. So I offered to write 3 poems. The last request was to write on the topic, I'm numb. I have a wild imagination, and I've very recently gone in for a triple root canal. So this is my metaphor. And it's called Novocaine Doesn't Last. You don't need anyone to tell you that you could have done more to avoid this hour of pain, more to delay the seemingly inevitable. But here you are in the chair, bib on, laid out under a glaring light as Mr. DDS says, open wide, this won't hurt at all. You know he lies, don't you? Know that no matter what topical swab, no matter what gauge needle he uses, that initial jab makes you want to scream. You try to picture something happier, but there are ICE agents dropping from helicopters, beating down doors, dragging children, some still naked, from their beds out into the cold. And as the dentist stabs again, you do scream. Silently, of course. What else can you do when nothing seems right? When all you hold dearest is under attack? Another shot. But this one hardly registers, and you realize you are going numb. Losing your ability to feel pain, even though you still feel pressure. Feel your jaws stretch wide. You hear the piercing sound of the drill, the clank and bang of instruments on the tray. Feel the errant spray. Try to close your mouth around the suction tube. Worried you will gag, choke, afraid you can't go on. And yes, your mind is playing right along, substituting the siren of a fire engine for the drill's cry. Fire hose knocking you off your game. Clang and slam of the black van's doors. Feel the weight of pure, uncompassionate evil hovering over you. You jerk back to reality. It's just the dentist plus one assistant. You're okay. The offending tooth has been set right. You're allowed to swallow, to rinse, to breathe deeply. Ditch the bib. Hours later, you will feel almost normal, ready to eat again, though your mouth and your mind will rally their defenses in anticipation of pain. You think how much it took to get a simple cavity filled, how big the holes in democracy are, how much pain will be inflicted on us all. And yes, you know that numbness is all that will let us push through the assault on our collective heart while we do the hard work of filling the gaps that have opened in our world until all of us can take a deep breath, exhale, and swear we will never let things get so bad again.
I'm just going to read one poem to top off this wonderful reading. And that's going to be in Thimble, the first poem I'm going to have in Thimble in the December issue. It's called From East to West. Once it was necessary to imagine the sky. Small, I saw just a slice of it, a tiny puzzle piece, the bit between electric lines and Sterling Street's red brick row houses. The moon mostly eluded me, and the fugitive stars hidden beneath clouds of car exhaust. I had to move out west to see past that illusion. On the ride to California in an overheating Datsun, New Mexico's wide skies and Arizona's deserts sparked only fear. The space between the lights of human settlements so wide, I shivered. It was a feral sky, home to fire, flash flood, cosmic collisions that could swallow my world whole, belch out 1,000 galaxies, swirling like protozoa under the lens. I could see for the first time that matter, even that big tree or you or I, actually as insubstantial as a wisp of cloud wafting across the midday sky. Thank you. And thanks again to our wonderful features and to our open mic. And you're welcome to come back anytime. Thank you. I'm going to turn off the recording. And if you want to ask anyone any questions, you're welcome to do it.